The second case is Dwayne Michael Carter Jr., known by his stage name as Lil Wayne, who's 30. He is an American hip-hop recording artist from New Orleans, Louisiana. In October of 2012, it was reported on TMZ that he was doing better after an in-flight medical scare on Thursday afternoon that had forced the rapper to make an emergency landing in Texas. After he had suffered seizure-like symptoms on a private jet, the craft landed in an undisclosed location in Texas. From there, he was taken to a local hospital and treated for several hours before being released around 6 p.m. local time. His rep had no comment about the incident, and as of press time, further information was not released. Within 24 hours, he had another seizure on another flight. TMZ had said he was on a flight from Texas when he was diverted after suffering another seizure on board to Los Angeles. He was then taken to the hospital. At mid-afternoon, he was still being treated in a Louisiana hospital, but was expected to be released Friday afternoon. They attributed it to dehydration and migraines. In November, it was reported that he had been banned from flying for the foreseeable future by his physicians, but just recently, within the last 2 weeks, he was rushed to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles after collapsing while filming a music video for Nicki Minaj called High School. He was released on Wednesday, but according to TMZ, just hours later, one of his bodyguards found him in his room on the floor and unconscious. He was rushed to the hospital again. This time he did not stabilize. He was taken to ICU, where he was placed in restraints because he was shaking uncontrollably. He was then put in an induced coma in intensive care, where his condition continued to be unstable. The cause of the seizures was unclear. And MTV actually interviewed a neurologist who was not treating him, but commented on the cause of seizures. And this neurologist stated some people have unrecognized structural abnormalities in their brain or a prior history of trauma that is enough to create an electrical disturbance. But I'd probably say if you were his age and you were coming into my office with your first seizure, in half those people you won't find a reason. Barring a family history, the neurologist said there are also some other non-specific irritants that can produce seizures. And one of those non-specific irritants, according to the Atomic Archive, is radiation exposure. Is that correct?
That's correct. And he fits into what I have been able to discover through very extensive research since the Fukushima disaster in March of 2011. And that is that there's been a very large increase in death rates in the United States as a result of Fukushima exposure. In other words, the Centers for Disease Control, they collect, it's a government agency, and they collect vital statistics, health data from every county in the United States every week. And that is compiled in their archives and data files. It's also posted on the internet, but it's just piles of numbers, and most people would not be able to make sense out of it. But what those numbers say, and this is our own government collecting this information and not releasing it to the public, is that 100,000 Americans had died by Christmas of 2011, less than 9 months after Fukushima, and unexplained reason or cause. And when I looked at the large increase in death rates, the highest increase was in the mountain region, which is the west slope of the Rocky Mountains, and it was 10%, a 10% increase in death rates. But when I looked at the state of Texas, this is what gave me the clue. And I looked at the age groups that had the highest increase in death rates. It was not the elderly people. It was the youngest people. It was teenagers.